So we know San Francisco's really good, and you touched on it with Seattle, but Seattle's in a very interesting spot. So Chicago's going to get the number one pick via Carolina, and they're going to take Caleb Williams. And so everybody is going to Arizona's not going to keep that number. I mean, they may and take Harrison. I could see them keeping Marvin Harrison because he's so good, but I could also see them getting a boatload of picks and going and getting other receivers. I'm not sure which way they'll go. Harrison's so gifted, so Randy Moss, they probably do. And so the third team, there could be a bidding war for that. It's New England, whatever it is. New England's going to draft a quarterback. But Seattle is one of those teams. They don't have a lot of holes on this roster. I could see if I ran the Seahawks, I thought watching Geno Smith, who's, regressed to the mean. He is what he is. He bombed. People forget how badly he bombed in New York. He was awful. Maybe not Zach Wilson bad, but he was awful. And so eventually, people get a year of film on him. You can see some of his teammates barking. People are getting frustrated. Seattle has enough depth at running back, at wide receiver. I even think at corner. I wonder if Seattle just says, we're going all in on getting up there and getting that quarterback, maybe Bo Nix, or if New England took a Bo Nix over Drake May. Because Seattle's one of those teams that's very hard to do, bring a rookie quarterback in and give up massive draft capital and players. But if Seattle said, we'll give you a DK Metcalf. We got these two young receivers. We'll go draft another. It's a good receiver draft. We'll give you DK Metcalf. We'll give you 3 number ones. They've drafted so well, John, for 2 straight years. They've hit about 8 home runs. I wonder if Seattle just says, we can give up some draft picks here.
I've been getting texts for years, and it's been reported, back with the Josh Allen stuff, but over the last couple of years, John Schneider has been scouting these guys heavily. I mean, all the top quarterbacks he sees live, which is not normal for general managers. And I think last year they went into the season thinking, we're going to take one of these guys. And what happens? Geno career year, throws 30 touchdowns. It was awesome. And they had a spot at where they drafted last year because of the trade. They were at number 5. They easily could have got to 3 and taken Anthony Richardson, who would have kind of been their version of Josh Allen from years before. Remember, that pissed Russell Wilson off when they were thinking about sniffing around trying to get up and get him. And they didn't do it. And I think they're not going to make that mistake again. And I'm with you. You remember Dimitroff once upon a time got from the 20s to get Julio Jones at 6. Andy once upon a time came from the mid-20s, get up, I think, 10 or 12, whatever Mahomes was. I think they're going to have to do that because the Niners are much better than them. But
yes.
One major difference is Brock Purdy's better than Geno Smith.
Yes.
Right? So it's like forever with Russell Wilson for whatever reason. Back to Harbaugh through Kyle. They kind of own the Niners. They beat the Niners all the time. Well, the Niners are now, including the playoffs, 4-0 in the last year and a half. And most of those games have not felt that close. They've had moments in the game, but over the totality of the 60 minutes, the Niners have separated themselves, and they're kicking Geno Smith's ass. And I think that was a big reason why the Rams kind of soured on Goff is when you're not a super mobile guy and don't have a super high ceiling, the Niners pass rush can just engulf you. And Stafford helped obviously the Rams in that NFC Championship game. Geno has not been able to overcome that. And honestly, he hasn't looked very good against them at all, beside a drive here and a drive there. But the game, and ultimately, if you're them, you're a couple players away probably from being a Super Bowl contender, but you have no chance to beat the 49ers to win the division, who are probably going to run the table again and win the division by several games because of that player. So historically, they've been one of the most, would you say them, Andy Reid, Howie Roseman, more aggressive organizations? They haven't all worked. Jimmy Graham, Percy Harvin. Why the hell wouldn't they do that for a quarterback? So I'm with you. They have, a DK Metcalf, maybe one of their corners, not the rookie, but they got a guy that they could throw in there to also intrigue with maybe 2-1. So just throw a Hail Mary because without that position, you could have 2 DK Metcalfs and Geno Smith. You're probably getting bounced in the first round no matter what.
Yeah, if you bring a rookie quarterback in, you don't want to do what Carolina did and have no receivers for Bryce Young. So what if you could draft somebody and get a DK Metcalf comes in as your one, if you've got other sort of pedestrian wide receivers, that's ideal to me. Tom Telesco told me this. He goes, you don't want too many draft picks. You don't want to be too young. See, he goes, ideally, when you give up a lot, you'd like to get a veteran player, a productive player. Draft picks, even in the first round, 30% miss. So I think Seattle could give a team, one of those teams in the top 5 or 6 and just say, here, we'll give you a star receiver. We'll give you our number 2 corner. We draft very well. We develop well. Pete always has. And we'll give you 2 ones. That, to me, would be much more enticing than a million draft picks.
I'm a huge believer, and part of it is just the people that are coming out now in the draft are no longer look like Peyton Manning, Carson Palmer, and Tom Brady. Mobility is such a huge element in today's game. You saw it on full display with Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts today. When you watch Brock Purdy, I don't think we give him enough credit for just mobility to keep plays alive. And when you look at the other teams, Seattle, Detroit, that aren't, Dak Prescott can move, Jalen Hurts can move, Brock Purdy can move. I'm not talking, Jalen runs more than Dak and Brock. Those guys extend the play outside the tackle, and usually you can't cover forever. The receivers, these guys practice so many of these kind of, scramble drills. You hit them, it feels like more than half the time on a big play. And if you don't hit them, you get a lot of pass interferences. So to me, the mobility, and look at this draft class, right? Bo Nix, Drake May, all these guys can move. Even if J.J. McCarthy were to come out, Caleb Williams, athlete. Penix would be the one guy who's more of a throwback, and he throws such a beautiful ball, but it's just hard to draft a guy who's not a great movement guy in today's day and age, isn't it?
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivery with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Can Uber Eats deliver foam fingers? No. But chicken fingers? Yes. Touchdown dances? No. Buttermilk ranches? Yes. Field goals? No. Grilling coals? Yes. Running backs? No. Ribs? Yes. Blitzes? No. Beers? Yes. Defense? No. Deodorant? Yes. Game-clinching turnovers? No. But pastry turnovers? The kind with delicious apple filling? Oh, yeah. Because that's groceries. And get those delivered with Uber Eats, too, along with food from your favorite restaurants and other essentials. And the best part? You can get it all without missing a second of action on your TV. There you have it. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.